Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today is a little tiny bit different. It's been a while since I've recorded, as you all have known, and this is the first video back, which you're probably not expecting. It's kind of a bit different from what I normally do, but I wanted to try something new, and I thought maybe this would be fun. And the logos, I'm sorry, I thought it might be fun. It's taking a long time, okay? It's taking a long time. I have to rush them. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into my week 8 predictions of the NFL. So first up, we have Thursday night football with the Bucks taking on the Bills. The Bills having a poor game last week, got beat by a lot. It was not fun. It was very sad. And then you got the Bucks coming off a close loss. But I mean, I see this being week 1 after the Bills they bounce back. I see them bouncing back here. I see them bouncing back. I don't know if it's going to be too much of a win, but I think they're going to get a pretty solid win here. Next, we got the Eagles taking on the Commanders. Commanders losing to the Giants last week. It wasn't great. That offensive line needs to stop allowing so many sacks. It's really bad. It's adding up. And then you got the Eagles, which played really well last week. But I have a suspicion. Last game was really close. This is probably crazy, but I'm going to take the Commanders for this one. I know I'm probably going to be wrong, but you're never going to get a good record if you just pick the obvious ones. Sometimes there's upsets. All right, so next game we got the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Green Bay Packers. The Packers last week lost to the Broncos because they did not play in the first half. They decided, nah, I don't want to play football. I'll wait till the second half. And obviously, if you don't play the first half, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna lose. So, I have Minnesota last week. Monday Night Football looked amazing. The O-line looked pretty good. The defense, like unlike last year, it looked pretty solid. And so for that reason, I'm taking the Vikings. So next game we have is the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Cowboys. The Cowboys on a bye last week. They should be pretty well rested. The Rams taking a tough loss against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which you could say had a little bit to do with the rest, but I mean they got 1 yard. It's not too big of a deal. And for this week, I'm actually going to take the Rams because I just don't trust the Dallas offense. I feel like they're going to fall apart, and I feel like the Rams get a win here. And then the next game we have is the New Orleans Saints taking on the Colts. So, last week for the Colts, it was rough. Gardner Minshew had an amazing game. Absolutely amazing. Like 4 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 2 passing. Had so many yards. It was a great game for him. And the Browns defense played awful except Garrett. And yeah, the Saints, that Derek Carr does not look good. He had that one drive, and that's about it. And yeah, and the defense, or Saints defense, looked pretty good, pretty solid in the second half. First half, not so much, but the second half they looked pretty good. But I'm gonna take the Colts. I see them getting a pretty solid win. I say that defense can stop the New Orleans Saints for the most part. And yeah, next game we have is the Houston Texans taking on the Carolina Panthers. Them both coming off a bye week. And yeah, Carolina just ain't good. I'm taking the Texans. Next game is the Jacksonville versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. And for this game, I have the Jaguars. Like, last game, they looked pretty solid. Second half, looked like maybe in the end they were going to let it go. But I mean, Pittsburgh, coming off that one, close game. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking this one. Next game I have is Patriots taking on the Dolphins. So, last week, Patriots. Mac Jones actually looked good, but the Bills have also looked abysmal, so we don't know. Which one is it? Were they actually playing good, or is it just the Bills playing so terribly they actually looked good? And honestly, I don't have a lot of trust on that team. This year, they have not looked good. Dolphins, They cannot beat good teams for some reason. They're allergic to it, but they can beat the bad teams, so I have them winning. And next we got the New York Jets taking on the New York Giants. For this game, the Giants lost to Commanders. Close game, Tyrod Taylor. I don't know who's starting. I don't think it really matters. That Jets defense is probably not going to let them get much done. And so for that reason, I have the Jets getting the win in this one. And next we have the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Titans. So for this game, Tennessee, I believe they are starting Will Levis. And I could definitely see the Titans winning this one. Desmond Ritter, I don't know if he's the answer. He's so inconsistent. The fumbles are adding up. But I do have the Atlanta defense keeping them in this one, and I'm saying it's going to be a close game, but the Atlanta pulls just barely ahead. All right, so for the next game, we have the Cleveland Browns taking on the Seahawks. And for this game, Cleveland's defense, as I said, looked awful except Garrett. You got that. And the offense, not really much better. They still won somehow. I don't know. It didn't really make much sense. I don't feel like they should have won that game. I really don't. And they're facing the Seahawks, which got the win over Arizona. Not a challenge. They have not looked good except for that game against the Cowboys. And yeah. I honestly have the Seahawks winning this one. I just see that defense finally making Cleveland's offense just fall apart. I don't see them getting much going, and I think that offense can finally beat that defense, and it's actually going to be a game win. All right, so the next game we have is Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Denver Broncos. So I feel like this game was pretty recent. It was pretty recent. Yeah, in that game, Denver's defense played pretty good. I say they play good again. I think if Denver is to win, I think if defense needs to be playing, they need to be playing at a high level, control Mahomes, and they need to have Russ have a good game. He needs to play good. The run needs to be play good, and just needs to go well for them. But I really don't see that happening. And I think the Chiefs offense has gotten better, and I feel like they've connected a lot more than they did back when they were playing Denver. And so I have the Chiefs winning this one. Next, we have the Bengals taking on the 49ers. The Niners, surprise upset, losing to the Vikings. I will say, I think they're going to get a bounce back here. The Bengals haven't looked good either this year. I say they look all right. I don't think they're going to look terrible, but I do see 49ers getting away with this one in a kind of close match. Say like within 7 points, probably. All right, so next we have the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Arizona Cardinals. So this game is not going to be close. As much as I would love for Arizona to get the win on this one, I really don't think there's any chance for that to happen. And so I have the Ravens winning this one. Lamar Jackson just looks so amazing. Unless their receivers can't catch the ball anymore, I really don't see Baltimore losing. So, Sunday night football. You have the Chicago Bears taking on the Chargers. So, for the Bears, I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe Bajan is going to start another game against Justin Herbert. And for this, I'm going to pick another upset. I'm taking the Bears. Because, Chargers have been so inconsistent. And I feel like just maybe the Bears just barely eke out a win against them. I feel like it's going to be a pretty close game, and I just feel like Chicago gets a little bit more points, and they win this one. All right, so the last game, Monday Night Football, the Raiders taking on the Lions. This is not going to be a fun one. I have the Lions winning this by quite a bit. I don't think it's going to be close. I really don't. Like, Brian Hoyer and Aiden O'Connell looked awful last week. It wasn't great. Lions, to be fair, they also looked pretty trash. But that was against the Baltimore Ravens, where the defense was playing awesome, and Lamar Jackson just went off. He was doing amazing. And their run game was actually pretty solid, I believe, too. So yeah, I have them winning. So that concludes the picks for week 8. If you have any picks you changed, leave them in the comments. If you think my picks are amazing, you should definitely tell me. But if you think they're absolute trash and garbage, that I'm gonna lose every single game, tell me. Oh yeah, tell me. And that'll do it for this